What's up, watch enthusiasts? Skylar Santana here. Let's talk watches. So I wanted to switch up the scenery for you guys here today. It's a little chilly, so excuse the gear that I have on. I'm out here in New York at Clove Lakes Park I actually got married in. It's at the Stone House, so it's really romantic for me to come out here, spend some time, get some fresh air. But I wanted to make this video today. I was very inspired to share with you guys a watch that's in my collection, and it's also a super rare watch. I don't think any of you have seen it before, and I really felt like it was important for me to share the watch with you guys and not keep it to myself. So let me take it off wrist here, and I'll show you guys exactly the watch we're talking about. I don't know if it's going to come up on camera. This is the SKX 009. So we're having a little bit of fun. I know you guys seen this watch all over YouTube. There's so much content that's been made over the years. You know, it's a watch that's in pretty much everybody's collection if they were able to get it before the discontinuation. And I know that a lot of enthusiasts, especially if you're just starting off, you'll probably see a lot of content on it and you want to watch yourself. I ended up modding my personal watch. I changed out the bezel to a ceramic, and I was able to acquire the 009 before the prices got too crazy. I think at time of purchase, it was around $300, so it wasn't too bad. And now I think that the watch is going for upwards to $500, $600 for the 009. My model is the J1, so the Japanese version instead of the Malaysian. But I do know that the 007, which is the original look to it, is going for, I think, $800 to $900 if you're finding it brand new. And that's definitely not going to be worth it for you guys. So I figured I'd give you guys some information as far as where you can go for this watch. What are some alternatives that you can go for? And there's a lot of information out there that I think will be super helpful for you guys. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this watch has, I'm not going to say flaws, but it's a little behind on technology. You're not getting hacking. You're not getting hand winding. There's a lot. You don't get a ceramic bezel. You get an aluminum one. So that's the reason why I decided to change out the bezel on this one early on. When I first acquired the watch, I knew what it was. I watched a ton of videos on it, and I didn't want to touch anything in the inside because I kind of wanted to keep it original. And when I first inquired it, the 07 was definitely outside the bracket. Again, this one was around $300, so it wasn't too bad. And I wanted the original watch, but it just wasn't worth the jump in money. And I'm actually happier with this watch because if you catch it right in the sun, it looks like it has a very deep blue in the dial, and I'm just a sucker for a blue dial in any watch. So ultimately, I was very happy once I finally got the watch and I saw for what it was, and I wasn't really aware of it being so blue in the dial. I was looking more at the bezel and the colorway on that, and I did like it, but ultimately the aluminum dial just, it wasn't fancy enough for me. I mean, it's a beautiful dial. I still have it. I'm of course going to keep the original parts, but I wanted to change it out for the ceramic just to give it that little bit more of a shine, a pop to it. It's going to be more scratch resistant. I did have an issue with the aftermarket bezel. The pip on the top did fall off at one point, but no big deal. You know, I customize watches, so at the end of the day, I just bought a new pip and I reapplied it there. But again, I want to talk to you guys more about what you should do at this point if you like the 007, but it's just too crazy priced after it being discontinued. And then I want to speak a little bit on the Seiko 5. The Seiko 5 was the watch that was supposed to be the replacement for it, right? But it wasn't an upgrade, essentially. I mean, it's fair for a normal use. I think Seiko probably knew that most people were going to be desk diving with it, so they really didn't do too many improvements. But when you're talking to really, you know, people who are really enthusiasts, we're always looking for the next best thing. We're always looking for an upgrade to a model we're in love with. And I think they missed the market, and they missed a lot of people as far as getting that upgrade into the SKX. I mean, think about what this watch could have become had they put those improvements in the movement, had they put the improvements on the bezel and things of that nature. So again, yesterday I just watched a video with Mark from Long Island Watch and Watch Chris. And it's kind of crazy that they did a collaboration with each other, because I was just shooting some videos in the studio with my brother, just coming up with some ideas and where we want to take our channel. And I said, you know, it'd be crazy if we could do something with either of those guys, and I mentioned them specifically because I know they're out here in New York. You know, I work out in Long Island. I'm pretty much there every day. That's where my territory is as a sales rep. But it's kind of crazy because they made a video together, and I know that they were probably planning on doing something together for a while. Just, both of them are busy. They both produce a lot of content. But I wanted to speak and bring them up, not for clout, right? I can care less if it actually happens. I'd love for it to happen. I actually met Mark in person, absolute gentleman, and I met Chris the same day. He ended up coming to Watch and Wine later on, and he was just walking around, and of course I recognized him. I took a picture with him. I took a picture with Mark. We're both double wristers. I always double wrist an Apple Watch. We'll get into that in another video. But both guys were absolute gentlemen. I have nothing bad to say about them at all. How could you? And at the end of the day, I wanted to bring up Mark's, I think it's the ISL02 model that he came with, which was pretty much going to be the replacement for the SKX with a tremendous amount of upgrade in it, right? You're going to get hacking, you're going to get hand winding, you're going to get the screw down crown, you're going to get a sapphire crystal. I mean, he really took the SKX and he did what Seiko should have done. I mean, think about how many units they would have sold if they did those kind of upgrades. And on top of that, I checked out his website, really user-friendly. I'm plugging the crap out of him right now. If he's watching this, free promo to my few loyal subscribers. And, I love you guys for subscribing early on. Super motivating. I'm just passionate to do this, so it's the reason why I jumped on. I'm hoping to grow and take this channel even further. But anyway, off topic, going back to Mark's watch, it really priced fair. $300, free shipping within the US. He even has some shipping that he can do outside of the US. I've had some experience with that, so I can tell you guys right now, filling out those custom forms and praying to the Lord that the watch actually ends up in the end user's hands. It's not fun. I mean, I've got watches that I've customized myself that are pretty much in transit right now, and I've got my fingers crossed. I've had a bad experience already. I've had a watch stolen from me. The community's a beautiful, beautiful community. I'm over at Watch Crunch, and once they heard that, a lot of people donated some money for me to rebuild a watch that I did in an event. Met some great people on there. I mean, listen, I think watch collectors in general, and of course I can't use this as a blanket for every single person, but I think people who collect watches just get it. And I think for the most part, you'll meet some beautiful hearts, you meet some beautiful minds. They're really giving. They really consider it. I've seen scenarios where somebody had their full collection stolen from them. They got broken into their home and all their collection was taken from them. And once the community heard of this, they donated watches, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I'm getting off topic again. I'm gonna do that a lot because I like to talk, right? So I was made for YouTube, but I've really got to channel that and focus it. But getting back to the SKX 007, I definitely think that Mark from Long Island Watch is a phenomenal place to go. He's got tremendous value in his watch. He did a great job constructing it, putting the specifications in there. And at that value, that's definitely what Seiko would have put it at. In fact, I think that Seiko would have made that watch even more, right? Because they would have said, hey, you guys love this watch. We put everything that you want into it. Now it's going to cost this. And he really didn't take advantage of that. Mark could have marked that watch up to, I think that Mark could have put that watch at probably $500, right? The 07 now is going $800. So he could have probably put that watch at $500, and people would have still went, that's a lot of money, but they still would have probably ended up purchasing that if they really wanted to put the 007 into their collection. So, that's a great place to start off with. And then I want to talk about some places that you can go. I mean, you can go to AliExpress and you can buy all the parts. I mean, that's a super popular modded watch still. They have bezels, they have the movement, they have the crown, different crowns you can select in. The casing will be a screw down crown. Will it still be 200 meters? No, it's probably going to be closer to 100 meters, even with a screw down crown and an aftermarket, casing and everything else. But I also saw on his website, on Mark's website, he did have some casing on there. It is a little bit more expensive than you would find on AliExpress. But again, you're probably getting a lot more quality. You're getting a place where you can really refer to if you have any issues. I'm pretty sure his customer service is up to par. So Another recommendation that I would do for the SKX 007 is I would just go ahead and mod the watch altogether. I mean, that would be a great place for you guys to start off with your modding and be able to have value and save on cost as far as buying the original right now, which you're not going to even get the technological advancements in the movement. You know, it's great that it's really like the iconic, it's really the original. I love my 009 J1. I didn't touch any of the internal stuff. I want the watch to last as long as I can. But at the end of the day, you know, when that watch is ready for a service, it's not going to be worth it for me to service the watch and put the money into it, even though I'm going to want to still have it in my collection. At that point, because I'm comfortable modding, I'm probably going to just swap out the movement and do the necessary upgrades that I would have to do to this one to just keep that original stuff as much as I can. You know, I'll use the original hands, the original dial, and just let that watch continue to age with me, so on and so forth, right? Because even with the movement that I upgraded with, again, the only thing bad you can say about Seiko and their movements is that it's not going to be the same value to have that watch serviced. And even if you aren't comfortable with swapping out the movement yourself, I would recommend buying the movement, taking it to a watchmaker, and then it's a very simple process, right? He's going to open up that watch, he's going to swap out that movement, and he's going to put that dial, the hands onto the new movement, and then essentially it's like changing an engine out of a car. You're going to have a brand new car with the same aesthetics that you're in love with because you've probably aged that watch. The casing has scratches that maybe you don't even want to change out, and you know, you can just essentially keep that watch forever for a cost of maybe $30-$40 depending on the movement and where you source it from. So that's some tips that I would give you guys if you're interested and you're looking to put together a 007 or something very similar to it in your collection. Definitely go out and mod it. You have options. There's a lot of people that are also selling the same watch look-alike. I mean, it's a huge hole in the market, and a lot of independent brands are going to pick up on that. And a lot of places that source parts for modding that watch are going to have a complete set. So I would definitely hop on AliExpress if you don't want to go the Mark from Island watch route. But, you know, if you're not comfortable building that watch yourself and you just want to have something that's already set, you're going to have a 1-year warranty with that, I think, from his website. I mean, that's the sure shot, and it's at a great value. You know, you're talking $299, free shipping, you know, plus tax or whatever the case may be. So I would 100% go that route. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience with the watch. So again, I did modify the bezel. I put a ceramic bezel on there. It was very early on in my modding career. My modding career sounds like an official job. Hey, modding career. My modding journey, my modding hobby, right? I put a ceramic bezel on there, and essentially you're just getting underneath the bezel and you're popping it up to remove it. There's some tools that you can use. I have a bezel removing tool, but it's a little sharp edged and you have to be careful. And at the time, I kind of knew that I was supposed to tape the edging of whatever. If I'm using a single tool and I'm just popping it up, I knew that I was supposed to tape it, but I was a little lazy and I said, let's just be careful. Sure enough, the watch slips. I scratched the lug, and that's something that I'm just going to have to live with. I'm just going to look at it here. Yeah, it's on the bottom left lug of my watch, and it did get scratched. So it is what it is. I'm not a type of person that harps so much on the bezel or the casing being scratched. I know that I'm going to wear this watch as a tool, maybe not so much for diving. I'm not really an aquatic person. You know, if I'm on vacation, there's a pool there, I do know how to swim. I may take this in the water. I may chance it. If it does get filled with water, hey, you know, again, I'll pop open the case. It sucks that the original movement will probably be destroyed by then, water being the detriment to a movement, as we know. But I'm confident with this because it's a 200-meter diver, right? It's made for diving. It was why it became what it was. It had that value in it when it was first released or when it was out in the market before discontinuation. So I definitely would take a dip in the pool with it. I don't shower with my watches, so that I don't have to worry about that. You know, water vapor and everything else, that I'm a little uncomfortable with. But I would definitely jump in the pool, I would definitely go in the water if I was on vacation, because I ain't going in the water in New York. You know what I'm saying? Green water looking like the swamp thing. But I would definitely take this one diving. I definitely would create experiences with it. I am in total love with the watch. And even if I didn't get the original watch and I had to get something like the things that I gave you guys as advice to go for, I would still love it, man, because at the end of the day, you're getting that SKX design. You could wear it proud. You know, Mark's going to have his Islander symbol on it. Nothing wrong with that. If you get it modded, you may still even get a Seiko dial on it, because they're sourcing the parts from Seiko a lot of the times. So there's nothing wrong with it at all, guys. You're going to have an SKX 007. Anybody who owns an SKX 007 is going to say, yeah, or 009 for that matter, is going to say, yeah, that's it. You know, you might have a conversation with them as far as it not being the original, but everybody gets it, man. The price hike on them is just too insane. It's not worth it at the end of the day. So another thing that I modded on this watch was the case back. I don't have that case back on there now. With the crystal on the back of the casing, listen, the Seiko movement is nothing to write home about. It's very, you know, plain toast looking type of movement, and I didn't mind that. I don't necessarily need a movement so jazzed up to enjoy it, but at the end of the day, why am I going to sacrifice the, you know, it being as waterproof with a regular seal case back? And then also the profile of it, it was actually a little thicker when I put that see-through case back on there. And it just, at the end of the day, it wasn't for me. I did the same thing for my Vostok. On my Vostok Amphibia, it created the watch to be a bubble back. And I lived with it for a while. The Vostok movement, nothing to write home about either. They have like their B logo on there, and it was a little cool. It was a little nice. But was it all the way worth it to have a bubble back on there? No. I mean, I put it on a NATO strap and it was completely popping up. I'll do a review on that watch sooner than later for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. And I still have images of the bubble back on there. But I ended up switching it recently for the regular casing, and I did the same thing for the SKX. My thoughts was preserving the original one, just like how I'm preserving the bezel on the aluminum. And this way, if I ever get nostalgic and I want to pop that back on, or if I sell the watch, which I'm very highly likely not going to do, it was a gift at the end of the day. I don't like selling any gifts. Somebody's going to give me $5,000 for it. You know, I might think about it. It's never going to reach that high. It probably maybe will scratch $1,000. I mean, the 07's not too far from it now, but that's brand new. Brand new. I mean, I don't know how many of these things could be circulating after the discontinuation and it being so popular, right? But I couldn't sell it. I couldn't sell it. I'll be honest with you guys. I might be tempted if somebody was to say, hey, here's $2,000, especially now that I'm thinking about luxury watches. I'm thinking about taking a step up, but ultimately it was a gift. Either my father or my mother got it. I've asked for so many gifts for watches. I mean, that's a hack, guys. You know, if you're getting into watches and money's tight, or you don't want to take the risk because you're still early on, you want to add pieces. I mean, you've got Christmas, you've got your birthday, and you've got times how many people are going to give you gifts. I would tell everybody, get me a watch. And they're going to look at you like you're crazy. They're going to say, a watch? You own 5 or 6 of them. What are you, crazy? Yeah, I'm crazy. Get me the watch. This is the watch I want. You know, don't pick anything too crazy. You know, be mindful of the cost that they're going to spend into it. But hey, it's a hack, man. Like, you could go from having no watches to 10 watches in within an annual year. Like, that's something that I would do. Again, getting off topic. So the case back that I put back on there, it has the original case back. And also I put a Jubilee. Jubilee's has to be my #1 bracelet to go. This is super jangly. It's actually a Seiko one. Let's see if I can capture that on film for you guys. Here's the little Seiko thing. Beep, 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 beep. There we go. Get in focus. So it's a Seiko Jubilee bracelet. Very noisy, you know. I don't know if the mic can pick this up, but pretty sure it can. It's very noisy, but it's very comfortable. And for me, I don't mind the noise at all. Doesn't bother me, you know. It's like wearing a regular bracelet that makes listen, if it bothers you, it bothers you. You can get a quality bracelet that doesn't rattle around, and that's fine. But I would definitely recommend that you throw this bad boy on a Jubilee. A lot of my watches have a Jubilee option for bracelet, and for the reason that it's probably one of the most comfortable and aesthetically pleasing bracelet that you can put on a watch. After throwing that on, I kept the original case back. I just swapped out the bezel. I was thinking about doing something with the crown. I like that crown. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like it has a little bit of like bumpy texture on it that has more grip. But for now, I know that eventually down the road, I'm going to have to modify the watch, because eventually that movement's not going to work, and I'm going to have to change out that movement and upgrade a couple of things. But for now, I want to keep it original for as long as I can. And even when I do the upgrades, I know that I'm going to keep the original dial, the original hands on it, and everything of that nature. I use this watch. If I'm at the gym, I'll bring this watch. I'm at the park now. I don't baby my watches. The movement inside is known to be a very quality movement, so I'm not too concerned about that. I did keep this on a winder. Let's talk about that, right? So there's no hand winding in this watch. Most of my mechanical watches are gonna die off, but the point of it is that in order to power this watch, you have to give it the Seiko shake. And not that it was a big issue, it's not really at all, right? Like, you can take the watch off when you're getting it and you're taking it, maybe it's dead, it's been sitting there for a while. You could do like this little bump style thing that I do, and what that does is just causes the rotor to spin. Or you could just do the Seiko shake, the regular Seiko shake. It's going to wake up, it's going to start moving, so not the biggest deal in the world. But I had it on a watch winder, and you guys tell me, man, comment down below if you guys know more about watch winders than I do. The watch winder was very nice. It sat at my desk where I do my modifications, and I thought it was just like really aesthetically pleasing to have it on there. I kind of felt that the winder is going to keep the watch running indefinitely, right? As long as that winder's moving, if that watch is going to be powered, which is great for if I want to grab the watch and go, even though you're probably going to have to do adjustments on the days or the date, but at least the watch will have power and you don't have to do the Seiko shake. But I kind of felt like without having the full knowledge on watch winders, and if that watch is in fact, because it's running, is it really wearing down the mechanism or the movement inside it faster than it should? I don't know. It's a very gradual and very steady, very slow movement when you're doing it. So probably not going to be wear and tear as far as like if you were to wear it and you're bumping it around, or if you have it loose in a drawer and it's knocking around. Vibrations and shocks for your watches is going to not be good for the movement. But in a winder, there's a slow, gradual movement to it. So it's probably not going to be so heavy on the movement itself. But at the end of the day, the watch is still running and the oils are still going to be used. You don't want your watch to sit for too long and then those oils dry up, which, guys, the oils they use nowadays is far more advanced than what they did. You don't really have to worry so much about, are my oils going to dry? How often do I have to wear the watch? As long as you wear it often enough, as long as the watch isn't sitting there for years on end, you didn't throw it in a safe box, you should be fine. But I'm not too sure about it being in a watch winder and it being running 24/7. So I decided ultimately to take it out of the watch winder, just throw it in my watch box, and I'm rotating my watches enough that I'm going to get it on wrist within 1 or 2 months time. And sometimes I wind my watches, sometimes I'll give it like a Seiko shake and I'll wake it up, and I'll just maintain it that way. So if you guys know a better way, comment below. Let me know if the watch winders are in fact wearing and tearing. I'm really curious to know if like a watchmaker is watching this, or if somebody's spoken to a watchmaker and they really had a definitive stance on whether or not that's going to affect your movement. It's something that I would really like to know for my information, because from what I've researched and from what I've talked about with people, it's kind of like, nah, it's no problem. And then it's like, yeah, well, the watch is running, so technically, over time, you're going to have issues with that. It's going to just, deplete that lifeline on the movement itself. So really curious to find out what you guys think and what your experiences have been. And that's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to just go over the watch real quick, tell you guys what my experience with the watch is, and like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Do you have an SKX 07 or 009? Which version did you go with? Did you go with the Japanese, Malaysian? Just curious as to what you guys have in your collection, you know, yourself, if this one made it to there, if you're planning to add it, if you're planning to add it aftermarket. Did you pick up an island? Mark from Long Island Watch, did you pick up his version of it? Do you love it? Do you have both? I mean, there's just so many things that we could talk about. So like, comment, subscribe. It helps out with the algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I really enjoy making this content, so I'm just going to continue doing it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.